I didn't know you were recording the when we did Get Out, and that was really fun to see in the episode,
To
my
see
reaction in real
your
time.
reaction. You know when you, like, Google, like, how to keep the sound
Oh,
on a FaceTime recording, and it's like, "Just do this," and you're like, "Okay," and you do it, and it still doesn't work? I was so
hi, how's it
mad.
going? Say hang on, you cut out for a second.
Get
Oh,
Out.
yeah, well, because we were just on FaceTime, weren't we? It wasn't Zoom?
Yeah, we were just on FaceTime, and so you have
Yeah,
to, like, do
because
that
fa you have to do
thing,
it,
like,
like,
change your
specially.
yeah, you have to, like, change your
Yeah,
settings
go
so
in
that
the
it will record the
settings.
sound, and I thought I had
Which
done
makes
that, but it still
complete
didn't work.
sense. Of course, you should have to go in and change settings
Right.
when you hit the record button instead of just, your phone automatically assuming that's what you'd want.
Right, like, who's
Yeah.
recording, like, very little of the time would I be recording a FaceTime call where I just want the video. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you'd think I would be wanting to save the conversation, and even if I
Yeah,
didn't wanna
you'd
save the
think.
conversation, I could go in later and just mute the video, and that would be easier than having to, like, change my settings to record the
Every
sound,
time,
and then
too,
it
every
still doesn't
time.
even work, like, you still have to go back in and do it every single time, and even then, it's like, "Oops." It's
Oh,
so
weird. You
annoying.
must have done something wrong.
I know, I'm like, "But
Nothing
I
on our end.
didn't." The only thing I did wrong was have an iPhone.
And that's a daily struggle. Dude,
Yeah.
I recorded because I was here in Utah when Neil opened his mission call,
Mhm,
and I recorded the call on FaceTime, and wouldn't
mhm.
you know it, I
Yeah.
was the only one recording, and we don't have
Oh,
any audio.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh,
No,
Whitney's
why
got it.
would
We
we
don't have to
want?
worry about it. That would be overkill." It would
That
not.
would be so silly
It
to do
would
so
not.
much.
If you're ever, like, even briefly, even if 0.001% of you is questioning, "Should I also be recording this?" Yes, you should be. It's not
Absolutely.
overkill, it's, like, the only way to get any actual recording. It's
Yeah,
so
because
annoying.
once we switched to doing this on Zoom, life got so much easier because prior to that, when we were just doing it on Apple-based functions, we had 4 devices recording at
Oh
any given
gosh,
moment.
it was so obnoxious because 'cause we're like, "I'll record it on my laptop, but just in case, I'll also do sound on my phone." Like, you shouldn't have to do that.
Oh,
It's 2023. You'd think we would have figured out, like, a simple way to do this by now.
yeah, well, they solved the pink tax problem, so, it's time we move on
We
to
move on
to
to
other
bigger
more important
things.
problems.
Like, when people want to, like, preserve a memory in the moment, it should be easier to do that. What is all
Who's
this
gonna have
technology
my
even leading
audio?
to? Like, it's so stupid.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Technology peaked in the early 2010s.
That's true. When it was just getting good, but people hadn't
Mhm,
taken it too far and ruined it yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube was at its peak because there were no
'Cause
ads.
it started becoming popular, but there were no
Yeah,
ads.
no ads. Oh my gosh, I almost had an aneurysm today. I got a 20-second unskippable ad.
That seems like too long.
Is that a violation of the Geneva Convention is my question.
I mean, if not, it should be. Can we call them
I
up? They listen, I know you guys have a lot on your plate right now, and that's fine, but just for consideration, can we make YouTube ads illegal, please?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, so annoying. Or
Punishable
like, when
by
you see like
death.
a 6-second clip of something on YouTube, I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, of course I'll watch that. It'll only take 6 seconds out of my day." And then it takes like a full minute because there's like 2 unskippable
2
ads
ads.
in front
Mhm,
of it and
mhm,
1 at the
mhm.
end. So then you're like, "What even happened?" And you have to rewind and watch it again.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, what's the deal with the ads at the end?
it's so annoying.
Is it not enough?
Is it not enough to have
I
2 at the beginning and also maybe some mid-roll? like already you're cutting off people's sentences, so then when it goes back to their video, I have to rewind to figure out what they were talking about before the ad.
Yes, because I've forgotten. I have no context. I must, like, investigate.
It's like
But
so
ads at the
annoying.
end, who even sticks around? If there's an ad at the end of the video, I exit out of that so fast.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's and the thing is too, I didn't even know, until that video that you sent me that creators don't know how many ads their video is gonna have.
Right. Yeah, you'd think, like, it would be better if they could schedule the mid-roll, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's their video, like
But they
it's so
don't
annoying.
know? They don't have any control over that? Insane.
Yeah. I had a Life is Beautiful moment yesterday when
Really?
I walked into the kitchen and
Uh-huh.
our, kitchen window above the sink looks out into our backyard, and it was just at, like, right at the time of day where the sky is, like, bluish gray, but the sun on the trees is gold. And every time it happens, every single day, I'm like, "Everyone stop what you're doing. Shut up." Like, "Do you see this?" It's like it's
Why is
so
it so
good
powerful every time?
every time.
Every time.
Like, it happens all the time, you know, the sun goes down every single day,
It
but
also
every
comes
time
up.
you're like I'm like it's so incredible. It's like seeing,
The
like,
colors have never
swans
looked like
overhead.
that before. Oh my
You're like,
gosh. Oh my gosh, I had a moment like that today too. I was walking home from school
"Mhm,
and the, was I mean, probably a block in front of me. It was not a windy day, but there was a tiny little wind
oh,
tornado
I love those."
that was
Yeah.
stirring up all the leaves and, like, blowing them up into the air, and you could, like, track the thing as it was vacuuming everything up. Like, it
Uh-huh.
crossed this actually, it was really funny too because it went and like, was at the crosswalk and then continued on. So it looked like it was just
Oh,
kind
it
of out
was
for a
like
stroll.
yeah. It's just a
Yeah,
little
it was
pedestrian. That's
yeah,
so
but
sweet.
I mean, it sucked up 1,000 leaves and then sprinkled them into the sky, and it exploded, and it was just kind of raining down, all glittery. It was amazing.
Oh,
And
you were
the
like,
only thing that would
"Life
have
is
made it
beautiful."
it was! I the only thing that could have made it better was, just far enough in front of me that I couldn't be, like, in the middle of it,
Uh-huh.
and feel like a forest witch. But,
Mm.
I just stopped. Everyone else was walking out, wanted to grab people, like, literally do that. "Are you seeing this? Is everybody like, can you believe
Yeah.
this? Look at it, they're still up in the sky." It's great.
Shall we
Shall
watch
we
movie?
Yeah, we probably should.
Um, so I, like, looked up where to stream it, and it's on, like, every platform except the ones that I have, funnily enough.
And it's also only the premium ones for the ones I have.
Mhm.
So you can have a Hulu subscription and Prime subscription,
Yeah.
but do you have Prime Premium?
Of course not. Like, I'm not a
I'm
chump.
already paying.
Why would it like, why the thing about, like, tiered subscriptions don't even get me started.
Yeah.
I'm gonna become the Joker, like, I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. Ah,
Dude, it's so bad. I,
it's so stupid.
friendly reminder, Joss Whedon is on my nemesis list.
Mhm,
One day, I'll get the chance to beat him to death with my bare hands.
mhm. As is your Second Amendment right. At least if we assume that hands are a continuation of arms.
I think we can make that assumption.
Okay, good. Just you
Yeah.
can never be too careful.
Yeah.
Everybody
I mean,
knows, but
it'll
just in
be
case you don't know, I'm a sociology major and philosophy minor, so I have to be constantly very careful of the words that I use and the ways that I use them. Because
And that's
words
funny
have
because
meaning or whatever.
whatever. I also plan to go to law school, so that should apply to me as well.
Yes.
I, just made a death threat,
Mhm.
and this presumably will be posted on the internet. Who cares? I don't know. The funny thing is that some of our viewers may know I carry a knife with me at all times.
Mhm.
Um, because that's sexy and cool, and I think everyone should. Uh, I think in this situation as well, I would make a point to like remove any actual weapons that I have. That's not in the picture,
Right, right,
you
right.
know. This isn't about like actual bodily harm. This is just about, you know, pure
Mhm.
animalistic rage.
Mhm. Which, Your Honor, is completely different.
Okay, so I was
Nice.
gonna ask, so it's not on any good streaming service, but did you find a place to watch it?
Um, no.
Okay, because I'm just pirating mine.
Yes, I that's usually my go-to, but if you have, um, a little website name already that has it, then I'll go there.
I do. I have mine on 123 Movies.
Aha, a classic.
Um, of course, legally, we're joking. I have a copy. I have a DVD of When Harry Met Sally. I would
Yeah.
never stealing piracy, it's not a victimless crime. We
Yeah,
take
that's
that
what I've
very
heard.
seriously.
I've seen that commercial or the PSA, the guy stealing a handbag and stealing a TV.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
easy.
I'm learning how to edit. We've got Adobe for one
Nice.
of my classes.
Yeah.
It's thoroughly entertaining. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Mhm. Like putting a
I feel
puzzle
like I
together.
could get really good at it if I, like, spent the time, but I
Mhm,
also know that at some point, somebody would want me to also spend money to, like, have a good program, which I simply
mhm,
won't do.
mhm,
I have Blender, the free version. I have iMovie app. I'm
mhm.
good. Like, I'm not gonna spend my
What more
dollars on
could you
anything.
need?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
Um, well, do you have
that's that.
your one up?
Yeah.
Not to cut you off or anything.
Oh, no,
Also,
you're good.
I don't know if you can see this, but you have a really lovely little pink stripe.
Yeah. It's because look,
It's Oh no,
it's
it
gone.
went away!
It's back.
Like a rainbow.
It's because I have a lamp here.
I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Let's do this. Before it even really gets started, I just want to say Billy Crystal's a really weird choice for a love interest in a rom-com,
Uh-huh.
and he killed it.
Yeah,
Like, I think
that's
that's
true.
what it should, it's gotta be it can't just be the like overly beautiful ones. He's a real that's like a
He
dude,
looks regular.
you know?
He looks regular. And I think
Mhm,
that's
mhm,
something that's too often, like, missing today, you know? Like, if I see
mhm.
somebody
Yeah,
who's, like, a little bit too, like, classically good looking, I'm a little distrustful of them. It feels unnatural to me. In the
yeah,
movies, we should just have guys who look like guys, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. We need more Steve Buscemi's in this world,
Mm,
and that's
very
actually
true.
like true for
Very
so
true.
many reasons.
That
Mhm.
is a fact.
Steve Buscemi, if you're watching, we love you and
Hey,
we support you
girl.
in everything. See you at dinner next week. One of the best things about this movie is that like all the little interview bits that they have are real people interviews played by actors, but like all those are real stories, you know?
Mhm. One of my, um, favorite things about this and about just, like, movies from this time is how much they use, like, jazz, you know? That's
Mhm.
also a lost
Mhm.
art in today's movies.
Yeah. Jazz.
Mhm.
I love like when they don't recast the younger versions of the actors and just like give them a different haircut.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's so good too.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Steve Buscemi, how do you do, fellow kids? It feels like that, you know, like if you're playing a version of yourself that's 20 years younger and you're like, well, I'll just dress like a younger person.
Yeah.
Yeah, really
Just
good.
comb the hair forward a little bit. And it's
Yeah.
funny too because it really I think um it's a really good way for me to figure out my face blindness. Oh no, I'm frozen.
Oh no,
Because
I'll pause.
okay. Um like if you were to ask me without knowing who Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal are, those would be
Uh-huh.
two college kids to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
because they look regular.
Mhm. How is it that Meg Ryan simultaneously looks like a real person and also like the prettiest person you've ever seen?
Mhm.
How can she
It's
do
because
both?
it's because women are beautiful.
That's so true.
Obviously.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Women's stories matter. They just matter.
Woo!
Okay, it's still buffering, sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. I'm at 434, which is an unfortunate place to stop because it is mostly butt.
Is he getting the grapes?
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be the worst scene in this movie. I have a hard time believing that, like, any woman could love him, you know?
No, 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 that's the whole point. It's a message of hope.
Oh, no, but he spit it right on the window.
Anyone could love you, even if you're stupid and gross.
She totally acts like an idealistic college kid too,
Mhm.
it's
That's why I'm
amazing. It's
going
not
to
even
New
just
York.
like, "That's where I'm going to." Yeah.
She still has hopes for the big city because
Yeah.
she hasn't been there yet.
I
It's fine, it's just I wouldn't live there.
just say this is my worst nightmare. 18 hours in a car with someone that I don't know and don't like.
Yeah. It's just so stupid. That, my friend, is a dark side, and it's like, no, it's not.
Like, no, it's really not.
It's like a weird habit. It's kind of kooky, but like, so
Read the ending of every book. Like, I read the ending of every horror movie before I watch it because what if it's too scary?
yeah,
And but no, I'm really dark and tormented.
yeah, sick
Dick.
and twisted.
We live in a society.
Yeah.
Mhm. Hi. I'm good. How are you? When Harry Met Sally? You want to join us? I was just on the phone with my friend Olivia. We just. Oh, fun. It's an hour and a half, and we're like 5 minutes in.
7 minutes and 40 seconds in.
This is so funny to me too because he like instantly understands how to like push her buttons,
Yeah.
and she's so oblivious to it. He's like, "Whatever, I don't care." She's like, "No, I'm going to tell you everything."
Yeah. So funny. His point about Sheldon like is pretty funny. I love how he like he's like so wise but the stupidest things.
He says it with so much certainty.
Yeah. He's like, Sheldon? Sorry, no.
Yeah.
Girl, you're lying to yourself. Like,
I don't want to know. Well, if you must know, immediately.
so funny. It's none of your business. But since you asked, her delivery of because of God. So funny.
Unmatched. I don't think I've ever had this much trouble watching a movie before in my life.
No, me neither. It's gonna take a long time to get through this 95-minute movie.
Yeah. I mean, we were meant to start at 5, so
Yeah.
we're 10 minutes in out of 50 minutes. It's not a great.
No! I was waiting for you, and then but now mine's buffering. So, I
Oh,
think
no.
I think as long as we're in, like, approximately the same scene, we just gotta
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, we just gotta keep plugging along. See, mine is, you're not gonna believe it, buffering again.
Wow. This
Crazy,
is bad.
crazy. It's yeah, like, embarrassing. I don't and the thing is I don't know how to make it be any better than this. It's literally, like,
Yeah,
on top of the router right now.
and it's because, not that, but the reason that it's buffering so much and there's nothing we can do about it is because we've strayed too far away from the early days of YouTube where you could just pause something, and if it loaded
And have
for
it
long enough, you
back
could
up.
just watch it straight through.
Yeah,
With no
what's
ads,
the
by the
deal?
way.
Why did we ever get rid of that feature? What's the logic?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you get more, like, traffic on the website overall and, like, on different videos if nobody's, like, waiting on this one.
Mm,
You know what I mean? But there's also, like, less of an issue with connection on YouTube, like, it's less likely to buffer than
mhm.
secret website. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of those things, and maybe a third thing.
Secret third thing.
Mhm.
The government.
It's yeah, that's probably it. That's
Mhm.
no secret.
You know.
Mine started playing, and it's maybe my favorite line in the entire movie when he says, "Oh no, what are we gonna do? Call the cops, it's already out
It's
there." Like
already out there.
his level of sarcasm is, yeah, I can only hope to attain that someday, you know?
I the way he delivers it so just dryly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
I love that this movie sets up this question, like, can men and women ever be friends
Mhm,
without the sex part getting in the way? And then it just kinda doesn't answer it.
yeah. Like, we're gonna spend the next 10 years answering that question.
Yeah. Okay, I timed it. She was not looking at the road for 15 seconds.
Ugh, you could
Meg.
die! Pay attention! You're not following the rules. There are rules and regulations.
Movies these days don't have enough Louis Armstrong. I see what you were saying about the jazz.
Mhm. When we, take over the film industry and start making good rom-coms again,
Mhm.
these are important elements to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Cast
we gotta
people
I mean,
who look like regular people, play good
uh-huh.
music.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Meg Ryan should be involved.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't know if yours is doing the same thing, but my subtitles, the T's for some reason are in as F's.
that's wonderful.
It's really good. You say, "Eifer," I say "Eifer,"
You say
and I
"neefer," I
don't.
say "nifer."
Yeah.
What about potato, potato, tomato, tomato? Potato,
Funnily enough,
potato?
potato and potato were both with normal T's, but every other letter,
Huh,
yeah,
that's very funny.
yeah, they're all F's.
I think I can watch, like, 1 to 2 minutes at a time, and then it'll buffer, and then keep playing, and then buffer. I guess this is the price we pay for not paying.
For our sins. Punishment fits the crime. All right.
Yeah. They're like, yes, you can
This
watch this movie for free, but it will take you like 33% longer.
ironically, I would pay like that's long enough. I'd just pay the $4 to rent it if I weren't fundamentally opposed to that whole idea. But
Yeah, yeah. It's about the
this
principle of
is
it all, you know.
yeah. I don't know if you're at the scene yet, but where Harry ran into them at the airport, and he's just like standing there watching them make out for a few
Yeah,
seconds. Like what a freak! Say his
yeah.
name or something.
Like, when would you ever yeah, it's so weird.
And he's so close too. He's right there.
Yeah, like, if I see people making out in public, I try so hard not to look at them in any way.
Avoid, 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 avoid. It's the worst thing you could do in public.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable.
Well,
Please
no, the
don't.
worst thing you can do in public is clip your nails. Also, the guy that she's making out with in the airport looks like a blonde John Krasinski.
He does. He looks like if John Krasinski and Donald Trump had a baby.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I also love I don't have a lot of close female friends, but I'll get one if it's important to you. What a crazy thing to say.
You loon. She's gonna go to the store and pick one out.
Yeah. If somebody came up to you in public and used the line, "My girlfriend thinks I should have closer female friendships," what would you do?
I'd be sprinting in the opposite direction. Sounds like the setup for one of those horrible POV TikToks.
Yeah, yeah. How do you open
You look like a normal person, but actually you're the angel of death.
it? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if this is just like a New York thing, but I mean, the taking someone to the airport thing is so funny to me
Uh-huh.
because again, he's spot on the money with just like the most insane assumption.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that his brand of logic literally only applies to one other person in the world, and that is Sally.
It's her.
So she's like, "That's amazing."
It's like,
You
"I've
know, like
figured
it's
it out, I've cracked the code," and in every other situation, he's wrong.
yeah.
That's pretty funny. All of their delivery is so perfect, all of these lines, you're like it feels so natural and believable, even though it's, like, ridiculous. I don't want anyone to say to
Yeah.
me, "How come you never take me to the airport anymore?" Like, it's such a joke, but he says it with such sincerity, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. Oh my gosh, call the cops, what are we gonna do? It's already out there, like
Her line, it's that's so optimistic of you, Harry.
they're so funny, and they're so perfect for each
So
other.
really, really good.
Just incredibly dry. I think that's another, not to harp on this point too much, but why are we not seeing so many modern movies with just, like, a really dry humor like this, you know? Like, the main
Yes,
characters,
and
to be sarcastic, they have to be so obviously like, it's their whole personality that they're like, "I'm sick and
yeah,
twisted, I'm sarcastic," like, just
and I mean, the
normal.
ridiculous quips too, like the way over the top, I constantly lightning fast.
Yeah.
It's nice to see, like, yeah, clever conversation, funny quips, but done in a way that you feel like I absolutely would overhear this conversation on an airplane.
Yeah, like,
You
it
know,
actually feels
I'd be
normal.
dialed in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's believable.
Mhm. It's kinda nice having these little buffering periods in between sentences. Gives you a lot
Yeah.
of time for ponder.
Yeah, yeah, it's time for reflection. It's like how
Yep.
for longer movies, we should bring back interval, and have, like, an
Intermissions?
intermission.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Saying
Not I mean, listen, I say this every week, but have you heard of that movie RRR?
Wait, is that the one, it's like from like India or something, and there's
Or something,
like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, I've heard of it. What's it about?
Yeah. Um, I mean, there's no way for me to answer that question, but,
Have you
um
not seen it?
oh, I have. Yeah, I have many
Oh,
times.
okay.
It's just you know, I guess it's about tigers, you could say.
Okay.
It's not a
Hmm.
nature documentary, but it's something it's like cousins, I guess.
Cousins to a nature documentary. Interesting. Mhm.
Yeah. Actually, this is funny because this is reminding me, bit aside, how I described Everything Everywhere All at Once to my mother.
Uh-huh.
Because I said to her that it's a story in my head, I said, I mean, it's awesome. It's about the multiverse. It's about like, jumping between dimensions, and also there's a really lovely emotional backbone to the story.
Mhm.
What I only told her was, it's about a relationship between mother and daughter.
Uh-huh.
And so she
Which
watched the
is
movie and then called me after. It's
true, but
true,
not entirely true.
not enough of the truth,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
she was
yeah.
like, I was so confused for most of that. Anyway, so
That's
that's
funny. You need to,
yeah.
if you're really gonna go to law school, you need to remember the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You've got the first one,
Mhm.
so we can work, I think, just,
Yes.
incrementally, you can build up to
Mhm.
saying all 3 of those things when you give movie recommendations.
On the other hand, I might not be able to get anybody to watch any of my movies, so
Mm, true. So then you don't need nothing but the truth. You need the truth, the whole truth, and some embellishment.
yeah. Ooh, baby, I got that in spades. I love the lunacy he's gotta go through to justify, like, that he wants to spend time with this person. Gotta amend the earlier rule. If the 2 people are in relationships, she just has a Rolodex of single men in her purse?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you never know. You gotta be ready at a moment's notice.
I'm gonna do it.
What?
I'm gonna rent it for $3.
Whoa, really?
I'm gonna do it. I
It's
can't do this.
it's very frustrating.
It's so bad.
'Cause mine did just pause again as well at the same time. So, that's probably fair.
Oh, this is so
Yeah.
funny. Confirm rental, uh, for instead of 4.29, it's 2.79, but then a $1.50 promotional credit may be applied. So, like, then
What is a promotional credit?
I have no idea,
That doesn't
and it just
mean
bumps me
anything, and
right
also,
back up
like,
to
you're just paying the same price, but they're making it seem like a deal. You can't get me like that.
no. It's like this is one of my worst pet peeves in the world when I'm buying something and it's like, "And you get 2 free in there." Usually it's only this number, but you get 2 free ones. I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm
Yeah,
paying for all of them." 2 free
yeah,
ones would be if I bought something and then they just handed out extras when you were leaving the store.
yeah, true. I was gonna say that, when I logged into your dad's Amazon account, as I do, it did suggest to set up two-factor authentication with a new phone number, and I thought, wouldn't it be so funny to put my phone number in your dad's Amazon Prime account? I
What
mean,
would I
it's
have
like
to
I've
do? I
seen
have to
the first few minutes of the movie, but I did, um it was in, like, 1-minute segments with 30 seconds of silence in between. So maybe we just rewind a little bit so we can get the full scene? Ew,
it's like, it is,
I,
like,
I sent an email to Neil where the subject was, like, a bunch of emojis, which look fine on my phone and his phone. They don't look the same, but they both look fine, but I forget
Mhm.
like, Gmail has its own emojis,
Oh my gosh.
and they just look so bad, dude.
Like, why are they so out of the norm for what emojis
That's
should look
okay.
like.
The one that's like the Chrissy Teigen teeth emoji
Yes, I absolutely do.
on gmail.com, it looks bad. It's not even the same. It's like
It's
it's
actually
actually
smiling.
smiling.
That's not the face.
It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be cringing.
Don't they know you're supposed to model it after Chris?
I'll send you a picture. It's upsetting. See if you can figure out which one it is in that string of emojis.
That's just a
Right?
toothy smile.
It's
They
just a
have
toothy smile.
a
It's
toothy
not supposed
emoji
to be a
smile.
toothy smile. That's a different emoji.
Yeah, we've got that one already.
Hmm.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay, have you got the link?
Those are two distinctly different things.
That's yeah, I mean, Google's so stupid.
Yeah, it is. It's not our fault. We're just trying to watch a movie and everyone else is making it so hard.
I mean,
We
yeah.
didn't do anything wrong.
Life is so hard. This is also gonna be so fun to edit. Yeah, like,
Sorry in
I
advance.
have to watch through it and see if there's any like good things to keep, but then there's also just like 5 minutes of like
Not to complain about the woes of technology anymore, but since we're on the subject, my right AirPod constantly tells me that it's dying. But it's not.
Gosh.
But it'll stop working, so I have to put it in the case and wait a little minute and then take it back out again, and it's at like 91% battery. Like it's not it's like glitching where
But
it thinks
it
that it's
tells
run out of
you
battery. It does the little boop
so
boop boop and then it like turns off so I can only hear out of one ear. And then I still like it's such an ordeal. I'm like, why are you doing this? You have 90% of juice left.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mine does it sometimes where my I put one AirPod in after the other one has told me that it's dead, and then this one says that it does the sound too, but it's
Yeah.
not for this one. It's because the other one is
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah. I mean, for all we call our technology smart, we know that it's not. And time and again, it proves itself to not be. C'est la vie.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I what?
Is it working?
No, it's saying that it won't even let me start the video for 10 whole minutes. And I said,
Why?
why? And it said,
It said because.
yes. So I think this is really funny if, you know, I bought the movie on my account and then you can watch the movie.
You can't watch it. That is kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we might have to say we gave it our best shot.
We just have to remember. Well, I can watch the movie,
Yeah, you can watch a movie and then maybe I
and
can
then
watch
just
it later.
when I'm done, you can watch it. Why?
I don't,
Technology.
I don't say it very often, but I really think maybe I have the hardest life. I'm fascinated by the idea of Moonstruck. Nicolas Cage is one that I would never peg as.
Huh? Sorry, I didn't hear you because I'm watching When Harry Met Sally.
I'm gonna close the tab,
Okay.
and I might get off the call and let you just enjoy the movie.
Okay. See you tomorrow at whatever time we said.
yes, I would love an affirmation word for the day.
Okay, because I was gonna give you one anyway.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
I didn't have to receive it if it wasn't for me, I think.
No, you can tell me when to stop shuffling.
Okay. Will you stop when I tell you, or can I just tell you?
I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Stop.
Ooh, I did. Okay. Do you want the top one or the bottom one?
Top.
Oh, this one's cute because it's a bonus card. That's extra special.
Yes, I knew it.
It's abundance. Congratulations. It seems you're due for a little, and then they've crossed out a little, an infinitely big piece
Whoa.
of abundance pie.
That-
Infinitely big.
Is that possible?
I don't know. I would think that that would be maybe too much.
Yeah.
But
But I guess I
um,
don't have to eat it all at
uh,
once.
this is funny. Feel like you don't deserve it? Knock it off, it says. It's already plated and ready to hit your table. It's coming
Okay.
regardless of what you want.
Okay.
Reluctant to take it? Shut your hole. This one's really aggressive.
Jeez.
Abundance pie is big enough to serve everyone. So get your whipped cream ready, unless you're lactose intolerant, and enjoy your well-deserved metaphorical dessert.
If you're lactose intolerant, get over it. That's not even real.
That's true.
Interesting. So it's like positive, but like aggressively positive. Like get ready for a lot. That's what it's saying right now. Okay, well that's
And
fine.
it better. I mean, I hope it's an abundance of something good, because that's a fairly neutral descriptor. You can have a lot of a
That's
bad
true.
thing.
That's true. I mean, people
Um,
say too much of a good thing, even
that too.
bad. So
I have heard that.
who knows, really?
My word is impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence is an equal opportunity non-entity.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. And one for the audience as well today. How about?
Oh yes, that's the good thing.
This is another bonus card for the listeners.
Wow.
Strength. You are hereby declared a strong, resilient warrior of heroic proportions.
Wow.
Enjoy your battles wherever they are, because you're guaranteed to come through them stronger, brighter, and more compassionate. And based on what I know of mythology, probably with great hair and a six-pack.
Now
There
there
you
we go. This is great news. You're welcome,
Yeah.
everyone, for the strength. You have it now. Congratulations.
Please don't thank us all at once.
The comments start rolling in. Finally, I'm strong. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Did you watch the rest of the movie? If not, that's fine. I have some notes.
Okay, excellent. Because I did watch half of it last night, and then I woke up this morning fully intending to watch it
Uh-huh.
and not
Huh?
up until this moment. And knowing we were going to record too, I spent the whole time like setting this up,
Yeah.
like thinking that I had. No, I didn't, is the answer to that. No, I didn't finish it.
That's okay. I finished it. And
Okay.
it has the
And
same ending as before, so it
okay, because I have seen it before.
yeah, so you'll be
So
okay.
I'll draw on that experience then.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enter your mind palace and remember the last time you watched the ending of When Harry Met Sally. Well, I have a few I wrote down some things like specific quotes that are interesting and also or touching. And then also a few
Mhm.
things that are like indicative of the the times. Not the news publication, but
I see.
the
I see what
broader
you're saying.
term of like
Mhm.
life. Yeah.
Sorry, I messed up a nail today and I have
Oh
to fix it
no.
now before I forget. I am listening to you, I promise.
Okay, well, I that was the end of what I was saying. But I can just jump into those so you can finish your nail.
Which nail?
I just finished. Well, it's two. This one and then this one. What
Uh,
happened was that I got paint on one of my pairs of pants, and I wanted to get it off, and so I thought acetone would fix it. Turns out, it's isopropyl alcohol is the way to get dry paint out of clothes. I wouldn't have guessed that, and I, in fact, didn't guess that. I used acetone, and it took the polish off of my nails.
mhm. But not
it's
out of
okay.
the pants.
No,
You still had to use the other stuff.
I did, and that didn't even because it was. Oh, yeah, no. So I'm gonna try again at a later date.
Mm.
Maybe when my nails aren't painted.
That's smart. You could
Yeah.
also just like cut out the section that has paint and just patch it with a different fabric, and nobody would notice.
No, I don't think so. Plus, it would make it. I mean, it would definitely give it more character.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. I could do that,
So, you know,
especially because it's a couple different spots on the pants, so I could cut each piece out.
yeah, just
And
give
give
it a
it,
bunch of
like,
small little patches.
Yeah, that could be good.
So, yeah, this is my advice to everybody. If you try
Just in
getting,
general.
if you try getting a stain out of something and it works, that's great. But if it doesn't work, you can always just cut it out and replace it with a different fabric.
That's so true.
I think, I mean, should we get into the bigger topics first? And then have a
Yeah,
few those smaller moments as just kind of miscellaneous things?
that could be good.
Okay. Cool. Well, some of mine, they came from like those two scenes back to back where Sally is at like lunch with her friends telling them about her breakup, and then the next scene is like the baseball game with Harry and Jess. I mean, that's just full of really interesting takes about society. Hey, what does STEM stand for today?
Sally.
Uh-huh. Technology, engineering, and mathematics.
The thought I had was M would stand for man named Harry.
Okay. Sally, man named Harry.
Uh-huh.
Effervescent.
We're saving that word. We can't use that word yet. We have to
I
get
know.
to Twilight,
Yeah.
and we will.
Okay. Okay.
Never you worry, viewers.
Okay, if that's fine. Everything's fine. Sally, the letter T.
Tells?
Huh?
Tells? That starts with T?
Yeah.
Did you
Sally
know
tells
that
everything to a man named Harry.
and that's true,
That's
I
very true.
suppose.
Even when
Mhm.
he asks her a question, she's like, "That's none of your business," and he's like, "Okay," and she's like, "Okay." Immediately spills everything.
I'm also starts with a T.
Oh, time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you just said
That one could
I'm.
work.
Like I am. I was like,
I'm starts with a T. Did you know? It's silent, but
and invisible.
this is fun. I don't know what movie it is, but it had Vanessa Hudgens in it, and
Okay.
I watched it at a friend's house when I was very young. And her name is like Sarah, but she puts a 5 in the middle of the word and says the 5 is silent. She's like main character, like Manic Pixie Dream Girl
Yeah.
type vibes.
Huh.
And I freaking loved that as a kid. I was obsessed with that. Yeah, I wanted my number to be 7. I'd put 7 in between the I and the T. Whitney, but the 7 is silent.
Yeah. It almost looks like Whitney with like 2 T's.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like not quite.
Especially if you do what I do and put the cross in the 7.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's
So
what
when
the
you
T is in this
legally
word, is the silent.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I was gonna
So I
say
applied for oh, go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry.
when you legally change your name, you can change it to Whitney with a 7 and then also add a middle name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I had thought of that yesterday, I would have done that because I did put in a middle initial on the name that they'll read out on my diploma.
Nice. Which initial?
Take a guess.
Z.
Yeah.
Sideways for normal. That's so good.
Short for
Okay.
James. Backwards.
It's Whitney James Normal Borer, but James James Normal. It's just a Z.
That's actually a revolutionary concept. Why don't more people do that? They have the middle initial stand for two separate middle names, and
Yeah.
it's just like the connecting point instead of a
'Cause then it's
hyphen.
like-
No more hyphens.
Right, because
Let's
then
get rid of
like
those.
your initial, you know, it's not too long, so then it's kind of a
Yeah.
secret that you have multiple given names. Could be kind of fun.
It's really good. It's
Mm.
really good. We're so funny.
Uh,
Okay. Sally,
Sally
time.
time. Sally time.
I wish and this is a hurdle we've created for ourselves, but
This was there were
I
more
wish
letters in STEM.
yeah. And sometimes I wish they were different. Like
Yeah.
the only e word I'm getting right now is ew. But it's
Ew.
not ew, it's aw. And so I want it to
Yeah.
be a,
Yeah.
but it's e.
Stam.
Here's what I could do. I have a book here and I could just go through and see what words start with e.
Okay. Is it a like dictionary or just a book
No,
that
it's
has words in it?
Edgar Allan
Oh,
Poe's Tales
okay.
of Suspense. So
Well,
it's got a
Edgar
couple words
starts
in
with
it.
E,
It does.
and
It's true.
Tales of Suspense starts with a T.
And there's an S in there.
Yeah. Suspense. Multiple.
Evidently, except, equivocal,
Interesting.
express. There's a lot of good words with E in here.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's Cask of Amontillado. This one's my favorite. Enough. Engaged.
Sally, over time, becomes engaged to a man named
To a
Harry.
man named Harry. We've done it.
Phew,
We're so cool.
what a relief. Okay.
That we've overcome again an obstacle of our own
We
creation.
rise triumphant again. Once a week at least.
Triumphant should be a word that we remember. I feel that would come in handy in the future.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, we've got it written
Yeah.
in the annals of our mind.
Gross. It's just such a dumb word.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
We just watched Over the Garden Wall,
Mhm.
and it's in the like introduction, a place lost
Yeah.
in the annals of history.
Yeah.
It's just, there's only so much difference the one N can make in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a big enough difference, I think.
No.
Anyway, welcome to Women in STEM. We're talking about When Harry Met Sally. So in the lunch scene that I was talking about, and then the baseball game scene right after, which is so funny because
Yes.
he's having like the worst conversation of his entire life, but he still has to do the wave.
And
That's-
why do they
That's
do it?
life.
Yeah.
Her one friend says like they're talking about like, oh, you could like marry so and so, he just got divorced, and she's like, well, then I would just be like his transitional person, like a rebound, and then what, like
Yeah.
one of us will die or whatever. And then
Uh-huh.
the one friend says, at least you could say you were
At least
married.
say you were married. Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, gross, and they keep talking, and then Carrie Fisher is like, you're gonna have to live the rest of your life knowing that someone else is married to your husband.
Your
And I think
husband.
those are both really interesting like ideas about the focus that we put on like romantic relationships. Like no matter what else happens, like even if you get divorced or you die or he
Your
dies,
spouse dies, yeah.
at least you could say you were married. Not even at least you
Right.
were married.
At least you could say.
At least you could say you were married.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
point.
that's fascinating.
It's also, I love Marie's comment too, Carrie Fisher, because Carrie Fisher's in this movie.
Yeah. She's the best
Um,
friend. She's the quirky best friend of the story.
Yeah, who By the
And
has a good
plus,
story in her own right. She's not
yeah,
just there for decoration, and
no,
I
no,
love
no.
that.
These characters feel like real people,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Which I think is something we said last night when we were kind of watching it.
certainly trying to.
They just feel so normal, and there's a lot of like banter, but it's believable banter. You're like, I could definitely overhear this conversation. I could have this conversation. These people
Mhm.
look, I mean, it's Carrie Fisher and Meg Ryan. So they're gorgeous, but they also look
Yeah,
normal at the same time.
yeah,
Like they don't have to like lean into looking gorgeous to
yeah,
the, I don't know, at the expense of like actually having a good story. I don't know.
yeah. And the scene where she's having a breakdown and she's devastated.
Hmm.
It was the first time she's actually like really getting emotional about something.
Yeah.
Like she's let herself. I think she didn't want to believe that she was emotionally distraught over her breakup with Joe
Hmm.
up until this point, and then it just finally all hits her at once. Whereas Harry's had, time and months to and years. I don't know exactly how much time passes in between the
Hmm.
divorce and this, but he's handled it poorly, but he's handled it.
Hmm.
Whereas Sally has just not, and she's just stuffed it down and just let it explode up all at once. Anyway, the point of the scene is that she looks a mess. She looks
Yeah.
awful.
She has like
That's what you look like
obviously been
crying.
crying. Yeah, and it's not just like a
Yeah.
few tears, it's like the mascara is like all over.
Yeah. Bright
She
red.
has a runny nose, like
She's snotty.
yeah,
She has tissues all over. She's just in her ratty old robe and is just like crumbling.
she's distraught. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing scene on its own, but the fact that I'm like, I know what yeah, because that's what I look like when I'm having a breakdown.
Hmm.
And granted, she does do it more elegantly because it is Meg Ryan and it is a
She is
movie,
Meg
but they
Ryan.
do make it look more like a real person. Yeah, she's gonna be in her
Yeah.
jammies and there's gonna be tissues. It's not a glamorous thing to have a breakdown.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because everyone just like grieves differently and has their own timeline, and like maybe she really wouldn't have ever had like a moment where it all comes crashing down if Joe hadn't called her. Like we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting like um because their characters again are like they're so believable and so real, and they bounce off of each other really well. Um in their similarities and differences, and it's interesting like it makes sense for them, yeah, to just grieve differently and process things differently. It's interesting that she like is so careful and so particular about everything, and so then she's like, yeah, well, I have had a few days to think about it and I'm fine, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Harry is very like he makes a lot of like really logical sounding arguments that are like completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's obviously very like emotional and he thinks a lot about things, and so it makes sense for him to like, I mean, first of all, it was like a marriage and his wife like cheated on him, and so that's like a pretty heavy thing to deal with. Obviously like you'd be upset.
And said, I don't know if I ever loved you.
Yeah, but like of course you'd be upset, but it also makes sense for his character to like have to take a way longer time to process, not only because of
Mm-hmm.
the situation, which was awful, but because of who he is
Mm-hmm.
as a person.
Right. Because as we know, he is like a deep, dark person. He reads the ending of the book before he starts the book.
That's a dark side. No, it's not. Have you seen? You remember?
Ow!
There's like
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, this is completely like barely related, but in my brain
Good.
it's related. There's like a Tumblr
Mhm.
post that says, "One day you're 22 and the next you're 23. It's sick, twisted, dark-sided, limp-wristed." That phrase.
Limp wristed.
It's so funny. So sometimes, like, not every time somebody mentions the phrase sick and twisted, but just occasionally, I'll be like, "It's sick, twisted, dark-sided, limp-wristed."
It's fun that it's not every time. It's
Funny.
just
Just
occasionally.
occasionally, just now, I was like, one day you're 22 and the next you're 23, which is true,
Yeah,
but
that
only
happened to
once.
me.
Yeah, it happened to me too.
The passage of time.
Yeah. Oof.
We should keep like a running tally of John Mulaney references in these.
Yeah, that would be really hard because they're just like it'll be something that he said one time. You
Yeah.
just happen to remember it. Like there's stuff that he said like in I was trying to remember the other day. Something he said in his like when we saw him live that isn't in the like Netflix like version of the same special.
Uh-huh.
When he's advising young boys to smoke cigarettes like a real American. Do you remember that moment?
I don't, but I feel like I should.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it was really good.
And that's true too. I don't know if I'd said this publicly before, but this is an anti-vaping channel. If
True.
you are gonna smoke, and you could put in the
Put
Curtis
your
Connor
back
clip here
into
too.
it.
Do it with your chest. Do it like a
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Smoke a cigarette. I mean, come on. I also will have it be known that smoking is a gross habit.
You
You shouldn't do that either,
it.
but
It's really
no.
bad for you. It's bad for the people around you. It's bad for the environment. Like you shouldn't do it. But it's like
Just
if you're
you're
gonna do
yeah.
it, put your back into it. Like
What
really
are you
do
gonna
it.
suck on a vape?
But like, but don't do it.
Oh,
Yeah, at
something I was
least you
gonna
could
say
say
about
you're
Marie.
married. Oh yeah, go for it.
In that same you said you have to live the rest of your life knowing that someone else is married to your husband.
Yeah,
Well, half the movie up until she meets Jesse, she's having an affair with a married man.
yeah,
And the whole time she's like, I just don't think he's ever gonna leave her, like his
right.
wife. And everyone
And
is like,
he's not.
obviously not, Marie.
We all know
Obviously
that
not.
he's not. Everyone knows
Yeah.
that he's not. And she's like, yeah, you're right. But
Mhm.
she's just so stuck in that relationship until she meets Jess and then immediately is like, oh, that's my husband. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. But she's stuck in this mindset of like, that's my husband. That was my and she's married
Yeah.
to my husband.
Yeah.
He's got to leave her so I can be married to my husband. And I mean it's that
It's
mindset of
sad.
I'm so desperate to be loved and to say that I'm married
Yeah.
that you don't like think about other options,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's funny, like
him.
she has that like in her bag on her at all times. She has index cards of every man she's ever met and their like marital status. What a weirdo.
Yeah, what the hell? Is that what they did before the internet? Was that Facebook?
Oh, just a
That's
container
actually
like where you keep your mom's recipes, but
it's just single men.
so insane.
Yeah. I also think it's funny too when I'm not going chronologically here at all, but when Harry and Sally decide to like set up Jesse and Marie, but
Mhm.
not with each other.
Yeah.
Not with their other single friend that she's like, "Hey, my friend is single." And Harry's like, "Hey, my friend is single." No, it's I'm setting you up with Sally and I'm going to set you
Yeah.
up with Harry.
Just because, and it's
Like
again like just because they're single and they have like a few thing like oh these two are both writers and these two are both from New Jersey. Like they have very minimal
right.
things in common. But I think they just they're so committed to the idea of being just friends that they like won't even consider setting their friends up with each other because then they're like, well, what would we do? Date?
Yeah, it would be
Gross.
like us on a date. That's
Ugh,
that's crazy. That's crazy. And they tell them not to like call the other person for a little bit because Harry's just so
Yeah.
fragile right now. Sally's in a really delicate place.
Yeah. Like
Like,
totally you should call. I have nothing against you guys would be great together, but just wait a little bit. And they're like, oh, of course. I would never do anything to hurt Harry. Bye.
taxi.
Yeah. So, oh, they're so funny.
I
But
really like them.
it's such an interesting mindset of like, and there's one person for me, and I have to believe that I've found him. Because otherwise
Right.
I'm wasting my time being in this affair with a married man for 5 years or whatever.
Because
Yeah,
you
just
are as
so-
frustrated with her as her friends are.
Yeah.
Like, girl, I mean,
He's
come on.
never gonna leave her.
Yes,
You're
we
the
all
other
know
woman.
this.
You've been the other woman. Like it's okay to not be anymore.
Yeah.
Find
And
somebody
then to
else.
see her like, so you're invested in this, and then that she does get a happy relationship, a fulfilling relationship with a man who loves her and is
Yeah.
willing to put her above, their like
The
it's
coffee table.
above the yeah, the damn coffee table. Which, by the way, I like. It's not that bad.
It's really not that bad.
Yeah. I do love the line though where she's like, I want you to know, no matter what,
I'll
I
never
will
want
never
the
want
table.
the coffee table. Yeah. It's like set
And
up to
then
be this emotional,
for
like
it's there, yeah, that's her declaration of love for him.
yeah, I'll never
I will
divorce you. I'll
never-
never like leave you. Not
Yeah.
not that.
No. It's like, yeah,
If
that
this
might
happens,
happen, but even if it does, you can take the table. I'm not thinking twice about it. I love that like 4 minutes later, he walks out of the front door with the table, like to put it out on the curb. And he's like,
yeah.
don't say a word.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like you think it really isn't that big of a deal. It's not that ugly of a table.
Mm-mm.
But even still, like, if it's worth arguing about for 5 minutes, he's like, I might as well just get rid of it. Like, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Sequel with them when?
Yeah.
Never, because Carrie Fisher's like rest in
Yeah.
peace, King, you know?
And she
Yeah.
did what she needed to do, I think.
She did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one. Well, I have several. No, I don't. I have one complaint, and it's that
Okay.
her wedding dress is butt ugly.
Mm-hmm. The
Carrie
sleeves are too
Fisher.
much. I like the
Yes.
actual bodice. The cut of it is very nice.
Yeah. You're right. It's the sleeves.
But it's the sleeves. They don't
Yeah, no.
fit with the rest of the style.
No. No.
And you hope that
She's so delicate too. It's like
it swamps her. The sleeves are too big because she's just a small person.
and she doesn't have I think it would work better with like bigger poofy hair, but she doesn't have big poofy hair. She's just got like
Yeah.
pixie cut. Like yeah, no. Anyway,
Need a
that's
more,
the
like,
one flaw with this movie.
Yeah, and why doesn't Sally say anything? You know, like
You're her
she's
friend.
she's like, what do you think? Be honest, and you can tell that Sally doesn't like it. So then it's like, be honest then.
Yeah.
Tell her to change the sleeves, even just take them off, and just have the bodice with like a little.
Oh, that would
shoulder.
be
It
so
would be
pretty.
cute. It
Yeah.
would look really nice, Sally.
It would. That's your responsibility
Look
there.
back on this
listen.
and cringe. Her kids are gonna be like, haha, Mom, your wedding dress was so silly, and that's your fault.
Yeah, you have to hold the weight of that for the
Mhm.
rest of your life. I look at my mom's wedding dress and think, oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
You know, her kids are never gonna have that opportunity, and that's
No.
devastating.
They'll say, why are the sleeves so big? I understand that was the style at the time. But
even that's a little much.
yeah.
Yeah. I listen, I am gonna say this now. I'm gonna trust you. And
Okay.
I assume you probably already have a wedding dress picked out for me.
I mean, I
but
have
I'm gonna
options.
trust
It
you to
depends
say
on the
something.
season. I do have the bridesmaid dresses and bouquets locked and ready. So
Excellent. I mean, good. I'm not gonna have to lift a finger. I'm gonna
yeah,
get
pretty much.
engaged, and
And,
then
like,
the next day you
card,
just plop the binder
please.
down.
Yeah. I got it covered.
That's awesome. And if things go according to plan too, we know that you had a part to play in the engagement, so you'll have like
That's true. It'll all listen, the theme will carry through. It'll be beautiful.
send you some inspo pics later.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's really the missing piece here. I mean, really, he just needs to show up. Like,
We've
what
got
are you
everything
waiting
else
for?
ready.
We
Yeah,
know
I mean
that.
TikTok.
Yeah, jeez. Anyway, in the
So
baseball
Nolan, if you're
scene-
out there,
Nolan, if you're out there, hurry up. Like, what's your problem?
anyway, in the baseball scene,
The baseball scene right after, Jess says, you know, sometimes infidelity isn't the issue, it's a symptom of
a
the
marriage
larger
never ends
problem.
because of infidelity. It's a symptom of
Yeah.
mhm.
So that's
Which-
that's a really interesting thing too. It's like where
That's
did,
just not true.
where did you hear that? Like, it's I don't think that it's, I mean, maybe it's true. If the symptom of a larger problem, the larger problem could be any number of things.
Sure,
However,
but it also could just
It
be
does
infidelity.
it can just like end your relationship, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that deep, and they had all these XYZ reasons.
Yeah.
So I think, like in the case of Harry and Helen, the larger reason is that she like has been lying to him and lying to herself, and she wants to go a different direction in her life and find somebody else. That's
Mhm.
a problem. And what's a worse problem is that she acts on it before talking to him about it. And she lies
Yeah.
about her reason for getting divorced. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Just
it's
tell
again
the
like,
man.
yeah,
It's because it's not.
it's a horrible conversation, but it's much worse to not have the conversation.
Mhm.
So like, you're a grown up.
Because that's the worst part for him, right? Is that Mr.
Yeah.
Zero knows
Knows
that his wife
before
was
he
leaving him
knows.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awful.
So it's just an interesting like the mindset that these people are living in. And I think we still see it like today, that people still have that kind of attitude of like, it doesn't end the marriage on its own, it's part of a larger problem, or there's one person for you and you have to find them so that you don't spend the rest of your life knowing that somebody else is married to your husband, or like
Which is
above
not
all
true, by the
else,
way.
above all else, at least you could say you were married, like even
Right.
if it
Yeah.
doesn't work out for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Yeah, which isn't true. There's more you can pick. There's options.
Unless
You can pick
you're
one.
me,
And
in
we've
which case
had
there's only one right man
the
for me, and his name is.
visions. Okay. Nolan, please.
Look, I'm begging you, man. If you're watching these and you're
Speak up.
thinking,
You're like, oh, that
ugh,
couldn't be me. Nolan's a common name.
it's
Speak up.
not.
Speak up. Say something.
Yeah. Drop it in the comments. If you know someone named Nolan,
Yeah.
let us know. We'll know
Bonus
him.
points if
We'll
he's
know him when we see
tall
him.
and auburn, but you know, it was such a. I'll just tell the story for those of us who don't know, which is,
Buckle in.
you know, 11 of the 14 subscribers we have don't know this story. Basically one night I had like such a vivid dream that I was sitting like, I was in somebody's living room and I didn't see who it was or like where I was, but I just was, it was the distinct like dream feeling that you're like at a place, you know? And they were like sitting on a couch or something, and I was sitting on a chair like near them, and we were just talking about whatever. And at some point they brought up that you, Whitney, had recently like gotten engaged or gotten married. And I told the story of how like, oh yeah, I actually like I got to do some like behind the scenes stuff for that and like help him set up the proposal. And while I was telling the story, I don't remember a lot of the details, but I do remember that I referred to him as Nolan. So then I woke up and I was like, hey, Whitney, I've had a vision of your future spouse. I don't know what he looks like yet, but I'm pretty sure his name is Nolan. That was pretty distinct. And then since then I've had a vision where briefly I think I saw what he looked like a little bit. Again, it wasn't super clear because it's like a dream, you know, when you wake up and you're like, who was that, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of know what he looks like. Whitney's had several dreams of future children
Yep.
that we've given names to just in case.
Yep. First, middle. We're
First,
waiting for the
middle.
last name.
Who knows? The thing is, Nolan, if you have a dumb last name,
they're taking mine.
Your kids will simply not carry that on. Sorry.
No. I know, and I know I kind of have a silly last name as well. Alternatively, I'm open to combining them.
Yes.
And I don't mean hyphenating.
Combine
I mean
them, like
shuffling them into one word.
Scrabble tiles, and you just mix them all together and come out with something. That could be really good. Also, Allison and I had a conversation one time where it was somebody that I heard of but didn't know personally, who it was two women, and when they got married,
oh my gosh, the lesbians named Rocket.
Yeah,
right?
They were like, do we take each other's name? Do we just make our own name? So they decided to both change their last name to a new last name of Rocket Ship.
They're my heroes.
That's so incredible.
Yeah, because you could
that's
just
always an option as well.
name.
Like I've thought, like, oh, if I meet somebody whose like last name is not that great, but we don't want to like have to compromise on whose name to take, and we don't want to just both go by our own last name, which is also totally cool and fine and normal. Maybe I'll just go by Dinosaur. Not even a
to
specific
be a
dinosaur, just like the
dinosaur.
whole genre of dinosaur. It's kind of cool.
That's so cool. I
Mhm.
like
And
that
then
a
my
lot.
kids would be like, "Oh, your last name is Smith? It's cute. My last name is Dinosaur." You know?
I am Edie Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. That's
Stop.
adorable.
That's actually so cute. Oh.
Okay, you might have to do that regardless.
Yeah, I will. Even if he has a really cool last name, I'll be like, "I'm so sorry, but we have to change it to Dinosaur."
And look, if he really loves you, and
He'd
I
do
truly
it.
believe you'll marry the kind of person who would do that.
I think so. Like I mean, if he's not the kind of person that would do that, it's like how compatible will we be in all these other
Yeah.
situations? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've gotten derailed
I mean, it's
once
just
again.
it's been a really terrible no, not terrible. As far as staying on topic goes,
Right.
abysmal, but it's been a fun conversation
Nice
otherwise.
conversation. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
imagine if your wedding was like this.
It's funny because like if I look at my life from the outside, I don't consider myself obsessed with like marriage and babies. It's not all I
Yeah.
think about, but it
Yeah.
does seem to be all we talk about on this channel.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, well, let me just clock into work so I can talk about something completely unrelated. And then as soon as we're not here, what you're thinking about is like movies and like the kind of stuff they're talking. It's like,
Look,
I
I
don't know why we
had
do this
an
to ourselves.
hour and a half long conversation with Grace last night about my Disney live action project.
Mhm.
I mean, and I was eloquent. I was spitting insights I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
Do I remember them?
Of course not.
Why
That was a
would
personal
I?
conversation. Now, when you sit down to actually do your project, you're just going to be thinking about your sweet little baby boy that you saw in a dream once. Like it's like,
Oh,
what is this?
he's got blonde curls. His
Yeah.
name's Peter.
Oh, sweet Peter. I remember Peter.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
I like,
So funny.
yeah, so good. I really think we might be the funniest people on the planet.
I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
And if we get a
And
million subscribers by the end of the year, I think we'll know that it's true. We have 1 month to get from 14. Cool. Good plan.
anyway, when Harry met Sally,
Anyway, I've
um,
seen it. One thing that I was gonna say is like there are a couple points in the movie where one of them will say, "Well, you said this," and they're like, "When did I say that?" And they're like, "Oh, on the drive," and they're like, "I never said that.
Mhm.
I would never have said that. I didn't say that."
Yeah.
And they both have moments where that happens, which is I don't know, just kind of funny, interesting. The things that we remember about ourselves versus about each other. I don't know. Your turn.
I really like, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I like how they set up this question right at the beginning. Like, can men and women ever really be friends? Which is it's a dumbass question.
Yeah.
That again, I think shows the time period that it's from.
Yeah. Because the answer
Obviously,
is yes. And if the answer is
obviously,
no, there's something wrong with you, I think.
yes, as we see with Harry.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
That's
obviously you got
problems.
some like, but and I love that the movie sets up this question, and it just kind of never really answers it, because can men and women ever really be friends? Yes, they're friends for a good portion of the movie, but they fall in love. So you think like, well, maybe they're saying no, but the reason that they have such a good, healthy relationship and a strong marriage is because they were friends for so long.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that that's just like such a strong premise of the in the movie, and then it just kind of
They still
it
just
doesn't
leave it
answer
a little
it
bit
definitively.
open-ended. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's so
I
good.
love that.
And it's also like you can't even look at it with their relationship with their friends. Because like Harry only says like our friends. Like it's his friend Jess or our friends as a couple.
Right.
You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So it's never like, well, is he friends with her or is he only friends with him and then her as a group,
Right, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's still, yeah, it's just not a definitive answer because the only people that they're friends with end up together anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good. I love and this is my problem with some other rom-coms like Sleepless in Seattle.
Mhm.
That's a terrible movie, and it should not be popular because
No,
Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks don't fall in love.
no.
Like, they never interact through the whole movie. They meet at the end, and that's supposed to be, like, the big romantic moment. That's dumb as hell.
How
Give
can it
me
be
10 years
yeah, like how can it
of
be a big romantic moment if you've never met before? It's just like kind of an awkward moment with a stranger.
yes! And you could just very well not like each other.
Hmm.
Like,
I
it's all
remember
fun and
like
games falling in love with someone over the radio, but, like,
when you meet in person,
t
you'd be like, oh, this is
yeah, can
such
you
a
actually build a relationship with this man and his son?
this is such a bad idea. Yeah, and then the
I
son is
don't like
gonna
it. I
feel
don't
like
like it.
sad because he thought it would work out and then it didn't. And it's like whatever.
Yeah, but it also it does make sense is when you don't like someone at first and then you keep happening to run into them, and then
Hmm.
by the third time around you're like, "Huh, maybe you're not so bad."
Yeah.
And then you're best friends and inseparable forever
Hmm.
until maybe you're like, "I don't really like this person that he's dating," but it's not like I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
It's just that,
It's just like
she's just not right for him.
she's too young for him.
Right,
He's too
yeah.
tall to talk to. Yeah.
You guys are insane. And that's what I love, I think, the most is because neither of them are normal.
Mm-mm.
But
And yet
and they're just
they are.
yes,
Like
because they're
they're
not.
yeah, the thing that makes them
Yeah.
freaks is also the thing that makes them like deeply relatable to a lot of people.
And absolutely, absolutely. Um like yeah, of course they're a good couple because they're just both like deeply weird.
Yeah.
And absolutely like you don't know a single normal person, you know? Except for me, I'm perfect, but
Everyone else out there, be
the
careful.
freaks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah. Anyway, I like that they're friends because that's what I've said for years and years is that the best like relationships in real life, but also to watch are the ones that
yeah,
they have a strong relationship, a strong foundation built up before the romantic feelings. So the one
yeah,
I was thinking about also was Set It Up, the
yeah.
Netflix one from a little that movie's so cute. And it's fun because
It
they
is.
are friends first and they get to know each other and then they already figure out like, hey, we're compatible as people together, but not in like a I'm intentionally pursuing you kind of way, just kind of it's an
Right.
accident that it
Well,
happens.
because
And
they
that's
both talk,
adorable.
it's again the same thing where they both talk about the other relationships that they're pursuing and they think of it as a
Right.
purely platonic friendship. And so then it builds the foundation of like being actual friends,
Yeah.
which I guess
Yeah.
is
And really
important.
getting to know someone without like thinking to hide your flaws. And that's I think why When Harry Met Sally works too, is because they both just so dislike each other at first.
Hmm.
And then by the third time around, then they're like, oh, okay, actually they're not so bad. But they have like already seen the like worst parts about them,
Yeah,
as insufferable college kids and just kind of like they already know what they're like.
yeah,
So there's no need to hide the quirks or there's no need for Sally to not order how she likes in a restaurant or for Harry to not be kind of a little sick and twisted sometimes. They already know
yeah.
these things about each other and so they can just like really be themselves and be vulnerable and open. And that's a beautiful way. This is why this movie is so popular. It totally
Hmm.
deserves all the praise that it's gotten over the years. It's not one of those things that's overrated. It is still underrated. Not enough people are talking about When Harry Met Sally.
The story is very like it feels very real and very compelling. Again, the dialogue like is natural. These people are
Yeah.
funny because they're funny people and not because they're putting on this persona of like a hilarious person.
Yeah.
It's just way more normal, right? And I like it takes time. I think they had a lot of fun with like the hair and makeup and costumes because they're
Yeah.
spanning a decade. So they get to play
Yeah.
around with like what was really popular at the time, what would Sally have been into at the time, depending on what was popular. Like it's so good. All of their outfits are
Yeah.
like so good.
Really, really cute. I and there's one dress, and no one shares this opinion apparently,
Uh-huh.
the dress that she wears at Marie and Jess's wedding,
Uh-huh.
like
The
dark
green
green one
one.
with the
Yeah.
and like it's I am obsessed with that dress. I think
Yeah.
it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen. I was reading an article once about the movie, and they're like, it's damn near perfect except for this like abomination that Sally wears at her friend's wedding
Oh.
that looks like what an ugly stepsister would wear in a Cinderella movie. And I'm like, first of all, that's wrong because dark green velvet, it complements her so beautifully.
Yeah, I think she looks
It's
really nice in it.
stunning.
And it
Yeah.
met again, it's like it matches what people would wear at a wedding at the time.
Yes.
Like it fits in the style of the time, and it fits like her style really well. I think it looks really nice. The only
Yeah,
issue is Carrie
absolutely.
Fisher's sleeves. If her sleeves were a little thinner, or if she just had like a, it would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have consulted us on this one.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. What can you do?
Um,
Um,
but
I mean,
all of
it's
his outfits too. I mean, he's just a guy, but
yeah,
he's got some nice sweaters.
he does. There's something about these like 90s rom-coms starring Meg Ryan set in New York.
Uh-huh.
I've never in my life wanted to live in New York, okay? I want
Yeah.
that just out there.
Yes, I
I don't
understand.
recommend anyone do it. It sounds awful, but watching these stupid rom-coms,
Yeah.
it's like, why am I living anywhere else? And
Yes.
I know why, because
And
New York
that's
is terrible,
that's the power of
but
a good movie. It takes you away to
exactly.
another world in which New York is a good place to live. Like when you watch these movies, there's no smell. I think that's what does it. You get to
Yeah,
see
that's
all
a
the
good point.
beautiful architecture and the lights and these fashionable young people, and you
Right.
don't have to smell it.
That's a really good point. If New York could just stop, I'm gonna end
Yeah.
it there actually.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a charming movie. It has such a really fun feel to it. I love that it spans like almost a decade, but it never feels rushed. It never feels like you didn't get enough time in one place or that
Yeah.
you don't know what happens or that they're skipping around and you're confused and like their relationship progresses very naturally, very organically
hmm
in a way that you totally believe. You're like, yeah, okay, no, I have kind of a connection with this guy historically. Sure, let's see if we can be friends. Like,
Yeah.
you could, yeah, yeah,
Like since
absolutely. You
we keep
totally believe
running
that.
into each other and we already know these things about each other, like we might as well keep talking.
Yeah, yeah. So it never feels weird that they became friends. It never feels weird that they got really close.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel weird that they like fell in love accidentally with each other.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you totally believe it. And that's yeah, it's one of those that you feel like could happen to you
Mhm.
potentially. And that's what
Yeah.
makes a really good rom-com is the ones that are wildly unrealistic are really fun too. I'm not knocking them. But the ones
Yeah.
that you're like, I feel like I heard a story that this happened to someone down my street, you know?
Yeah.
That's like, yeah,
It
based
feels
in
very
reality.
real.
Yeah.
Because that happens so often where you meet somebody at the wrong time and then meet them again later in life and it's the right time. Why
Yeah.
not?
Sure.
Yeah. I also
That's
like
another oh, go ahead.
that's something that he says like to Jess, right? Where he's like talking about why he likes being friends with her. Like I don't have to lie. I can
Yeah,
just
because I'm not thinking
be
about how to get her into
I can
bed.
just be myself. She already
Mhm.
knows me, so I don't have to lie. I can just be myself, which I think is like it's what you were saying before of like this is why it's important for a romantic relationship a lot of the time to start out with a friendship because you already
Mhm.
know each other and you don't have to pretend to be this version of yourself. You can just be yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting that later, like after he goes over to her house and they sleep together and then he spends the night and like he's getting ready to leave in the morning, but he still tells her like, well, I'm just getting ready to leave. I have to go to work and you have to go to work, but I would love to see you again. Right? Instead of coming up with some excuse like he's been telling to all these other people.
Right, yeah.
So it's again like I can just be myself. I don't have to lie to her.
Yeah.
And then later he calls Jess. He's like, I'm freaking out. Did I do the right thing? And he's like, why are you calling me? Like,
I obsessed with that scene.
That scene
That
is
one
so
took
good.
like 1,000 takes for them to get right because they really, I mean, they could have
Because
just
they were
so
doing it at the
easily.
same time. Yeah, they could have just like
Yes.
filmed this conversation and then this conversation and put them together, but they really had Meg Ryan talking to Carrie Fisher like at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes it because
So
yeah,
good.
you know they're responding to each other. That's one of my biggest problems with animated movies is that they don't have the actors talking in the same room together, and you can
Yeah.
tell the difference when they do. And you're like, there's something about this conversation that feels really real. And it's
Yeah.
because yeah, they're in the same room. And I don't know why that's not more common for
Yeah,
them
I
to.
don't know.
I know why
You know, we know
logically,
why,
but yeah, they
but it's
should
just
be.
nicer, like it just feels more organic. There's like an overlap, people talk over each other just naturally in conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I really um when I feel like a movie or TV show is like weirdly paced or like it's an obviously like amateurish director, that's like the number one thing that stands out to me. Like if you're waiting until the end of my line before you say your line, even if you're talking to somebody else, it's just like it really takes me out of it. It's so inorganic. But they have like this scene where like when they're at dinner and they're trying to set each other up and you see it like
Yeah.
Sally and Jess talking and then it spans over to like Harry and Marie and they're talking at the same time. That's totally normal. Or like on the phone
Absolutely.
when they're like, "Do you want to come over for breakfast?" Like good. I mean, you know, like
Mm. And then they both have to like, are you talking on the phone? Is someone else there? And they both have to like, TV.
yeah. No, it's a celebrity who sounds like my husband. No.
It's
Right, but it's
adorable.
just so
They
normal,
feel
but
like
like
a real married couple.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And it just feels so natural. Like the flow of conversation is
Mhm.
natural. The things that they're talking about are things that people actually say. And it's not just like such a
Yeah.
pause of like line, 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 walk over here, line, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You're
I
walking
mean,
and talking. You're talking over each other. You know, this is a
yeah,
normal conversation.
you cut someone off a little bit, you know, that's and side note as well is it's funny because I have a hard time listening to our conversations that we do over Zoom
Mhm.
because it definitely seems like I talk over you a whole lot. And it doesn't happen in the real life conversations, but the damn delay makes it look really egregious on my part. I just want it known. I do interrupt, but not that bad. I promise. It's worse than
That's
it
so
really it
good.
looks worse than it really is. But
Yeah.
yeah, especially like
It's the
yeah, I mean,
delay and it's the like I just when you're in person, you can tell better when somebody is about to say something.
yeah.
So you're less likely to start talking at the same time. That's like the number one thing on these like Zoom calls is that we'll both go, "Oh, and
What
no,
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 sorry,
you
you
go
were
ahead."
no. Oh, well, I was just gonna say
Oh,
oh,
no,
y-
that's fine.
no, what were you
I'll just
yeah.
no, I don't want to interrupt. It's like
It's bad.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a real I love because the whole movie does feel so natural. And then the conversation that they have after they like sleep together and they're having dinner, they're like it's so stilted and
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
And you can like it's obviously an intentional choice because none of the rest of the movie has been like that.
Right.
So the fact
And
that they're
it's
like
on purpose to say that, oh, she feels deeply uncomfortable and kind of
mhm,
mad, like kind of angry. And I
yeah.
love his like because he's very humorous. He's just a funny guy, so he's trying to like break the tension a little bit. Like it's so nice to just sit down with somebody and not have to talk. And she's like,
And I love it too because like I I we were talking about it with what was it? Ever After. That the prince's folly is completely understandable given his situation and forgivable, and
Mhm.
it's not it's understandable that it separates them for a moment, but also completely understandable when they get back together and you're like, "Oh, thank goodness." You know,
Yeah,
sometimes they have the like miscommunication be so severe that it's like they're never gonna get back together, and if they do, then they shouldn't.
yeah,
But this one, it's they're both so deeply uncomfortable with this because they both have feelings for each other. Neither one knows how to address it. Um, Sally is insecure because she doesn't want him to just treat, because it's obviously sex obviously means more to her than it has to him historically.
Mhm.
And so she doesn't want to feel like just another, notch on his bedpost, that it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. This was just, like, no big deal." So she wants to say that, but when he agrees, then it's like, "Oh, well, then emotionally, it must not have meant anything to him either." And
Right.
so then she's hurt and, like, feels insecure because she thinks it didn't mean anything to him at all, when
Yeah.
she didn't want it to mean anything, but the fact that he agrees is what makes it hurtful, and he's confused because it does mean something, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't, because this is a woman that he loves, as a friend that he knows of, but, like, also
Yeah.
romantically that he realizes later. So, of course he's gonna just kind of withdraw and default back to humor and try to make it like, no, it's no big deal. So he's acting like it's no big deal, even though it is to him, because that's his defense mechanism. And so they're both retreating and misunderstanding the signals that the other one is giving.
Yeah.
It's completely understandable and also forgivable on both sides. You totally get where they're both coming from in a way that is endearing to both parties.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it is. You
Yeah,
don't have to
and a
like
completely
pick a
understandable
side.
miscommunication. Exactly, yeah.
Mhm. I think
Because of
people
course she'd
get
be mad
too
at him,
yeah,
and of course he'd be afraid and a little like,
because this is
I
the
don't
first
want
time that he's ever wanted to commit to somebody since his marriage, which ended horribly.
really
So, like
badly,
obviously he's
yeah.
really like it's hard for him to put himself out there in like an actually serious way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people get too into like the idea of like an enemies to lovers trope. They make them
Mm,
way too strong of enemies, and then it doesn't make sense for them to ever become friends or lovers. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like, ugh, this is good though. They just
Mhm.
don't like each other, and then,
And then they
oh,
like each
maybe a
other.
little bit, and then we were friends, and then we weren't, and then we were in love.
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut up. What?
I know.
Adorable. I love the whole
So
last
good.
closing scene. Okay, first of all, throughout the movie, you've got the little clips of couples
Hmm.
just explaining the relationship, which is the cutest idea ever.
Yeah.
It's so adorable. And for those who don't know this,
It gives
those
a
are
lot
real
of
stories.
backbone, a lot of foundation to the
Yeah.
romance of the story that a lot of other romantic movies are missing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you think it would be jarring, but it's not. It just these little tiny snippets of people just
Hmm.
being so real and emotional. And I mean, they're actors, yeah, but the stories are real stories submitted by actual like couples.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering right, they actually had interviewed like a bunch of different couples and had the actors like portray like similar, so they're
Hmm.
based off of real people in a lot of different ways. And to have like the last scene of the movie be Harry and Sally's like couple interview
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's such a fun thing that you didn't even know they were building up to. But then it's like, oh, of course yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you know?
It's so sweet. Yeah, I love those like how sometimes like one person will be telling a story and the other person will add in the details, or they'll just both tell the story at the same time, completely talking over each
Yeah,
other. Or just one person will say something and the other one just doesn't say anything and just sits there. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
just nods. I love my favorite,
It's
and we were
again like
texting about this
very
last night.
personal and very realistic dynamics
Yeah,
between couples. Yeah.
yeah, especially old couples. You've seen
Yeah.
all of those people interact together.
Yeah.
But my personal favorite line of the whole movie that I texted Olivia about last night
Mhm.
is
Okay.
the scene, one of the couple scenes where they're like, she's like, he crossed the room to talk to me, and I was surprised by this because people were always crossing the room to talk to my friend Marjorie, but he came to talk to me. And he said, and she like lets him tell the story. He says, "I'm Ben Smalls of the Coney Island Smalls." He's so cute. And she says, and I knew in that
Mhm.
moment, I knew the way. This is the line. I
Ah,
knew the way you know about a good melon.
so good.
Like, I
Like
genuinely,
it's
the first
not an
time I heard that
epiphany,
line,
it's
I
not the
just
angels
cried.
from heaven. It's just like when you know, you know.
When I knew the way you know about a good melon.
Yeah.
I like, there's something about that line that has just stuck with me. It's so unbelievably cute
Yeah.
and human.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know when you know about a good melon.
There's something very poetic about the simplicity of people just saying it there, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
knew the way you know about a good melon. I go insane over that line. It's so adorable to me. And so
Yeah.
just the little insertion, just sparingly of every now and then in between each like decade or phase of their life or whatever. Here's, just a little
Yeah.
sprinkling. And it's so tender, so tender. And the last line where he's like, well, and you have to have the chocolate sauce on the side. And he kind of looks at the camera like with a knowing
Yeah.
smile. And she's like, well, yeah, because not everyone likes it on the side. And it's like that
Yeah.
he just looks at her with so much adoration. He's like, I know it's silly, but it's her thing. And I'm
Yeah.
not gonna like, you need to have it on the side. Otherwise the coconut gets soggy.
Yeah. Not everybody
It's
likes it like that. You know, you have to be able to
yeah.
portion it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so sweet that they like the first time they really like hang out is when they're watching the same movie separately but on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and he's like, that's the best final line of any movie. And it really just solidifies this idea of like this movie is about friendship. And then it's funny that like their final line in the like at the New Year's Eve party is like, anyway,
Mhm.
it's about old friends. And so you think that's going to be the ending because it's such this perfect symmetry with like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship,
Casablanca.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And but then it's not. The last line is it's important to keep it on the side.
And again, there's something so like poetic about it because you almost want it to be anyway, it's about old friends and she's crying and they're together.
Yeah.
And then like you've got the voiceover of and then we didn't like each other and then we were friends and then we were not and then we were in love.
Yeah.
And that's also just a wonderful line. And then you go to the coconut thing and it's like, oh, how could it be anything else?
Yeah, the
'Cause,
final
yeah,
line is it's important to keep it on the side. And that's like it's just really grounding. Like
yeah.
at the end of the day, your real life romance isn't gonna be exactly like a movie, you know?
No. The
So
tiniest
it's
declarations of love. I knew the way you know about a good melon. Yeah, he
yeah,
throws out the wagon wheel coffee table,
yeah.
and you just with knowing eyes, you got to keep the chocolate sauce
It's
on the side.
it's important to keep it on the side. When they're in the bookstore and Marie is like, Sally's like, I don't like him. And Marie is like, oh, that's just like in the movies, the most contemptible guy, right? So it's funny
Mhm.
they like throw in this like they're very aware of what you expect from a movie, and
Yeah,
they give you that really well, but also it's very grounded in like the humanity of it's important to keep it on the side.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tender. Really sweet.
Yeah.
And the New Year's, like continually coming back to the New Year's party every year, and you just kind of see the evolution where they go from, oh, we're friends, now we can be each other's date and like we can dance cheek to cheek and
Like
it
ha
won't
ha
be
ha ha.
weird. And then they're like,
Unless it's weird.
I love the scene where they're just kind of slowly rotating, and he's like, because
Yeah.
he's lonely. He's just gone through a divorce. He's like, are you gonna hold
And
somebody?
I think
And then
he's
she,
more like he's kind of waiting for her to not be in denial.
yeah,
Like the whole time he's kind of the one who's like instigating like, oh, we should hang out. Oh, we should do this. So let me tell you about my deepest trauma, you know. He's kind
yeah,
of always the one initiating, so he has to let her wait until she's ready.
right, yeah. Even his last like he running to the party because you have to have that in a rom-com. You have to have
Of
someone
course.
dramatically running through the streets.
Of course, of course.
It's so sweet. And then he like, she's leaving. She doesn't want to be at the party. It's the countdown, and she's like, she's devastated. She's so emotional. She doesn't want to be there in the first place. And she's leaving just as he's coming to find her. And people talk about famous lines in movies, and this one deserves its spot because it's when
It's
you
not
realize
because
you want
I'm
to spend the rest of
lonely,
your
and it's
life
not
with
because it's New
someone.
Year's Eve. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. I know it's a movie, and I know it's cheesy, but damn it, if someone ever said that to me, I'd die.
Yeah.
It's so good. Which, Nolan, if you're listening, keep that in mind. But, You know?
Mhm.
That's yeah, it's a movie, it's grounded in realism, but it is a movie, and we're gonna
Yeah.
have a grand declaration of love
Yeah.
at a New Year's party, surrounded by, like, thousands of other people, and she's crying, and he's like, "I'm not" "I'm not gonna let a lack of communication or a misunderstanding get in between us because I know that
Mhm.
there is something here, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let it go."
And they finally get the timing right of
Yeah.
leaving and entering the party at the same time.
Anyway, it's about old friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's, so much else that could be said about this movie. That's
I
all
feel
I
like
have
I
to say
have
about
nothing
it.
more to say. Yeah.
No, yeah, no, I've exhausted every comment. I mean, it's just good. And we say this
Mhm.
about every movie, but it's because we mean it about
We
every
mean
movie
it.
because we only talk about the good ones.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor and watch it. It's
Yeah.
so good.
There's a reason it's famous. There's a reason, like, if you've never watched any rom-com, you've heard the name When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
It's because it's good. It's
Yeah, and
worth
if your
watching.
first, interaction with a rom-com has been, "Oh, you need to watch Sleepless in Seattle," and you watched it and you hated it because it's a bad movie, just,
This is a
don't
safe
let that
space.
experience ruin you. Yeah,
It's a bad
you
movie, and
will
we
like
understand you.
this one.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
do
If
feel like
anyone
if your
hates Sleepless
first
in Seattle, drop it in the comments.
yeah. I feel like if your first interaction with a rom-com though is When Harry Met Sally, you probably won't like any of the others because this one is peak.
It's
This
gonna
is
go
the
down
best
from there no
this
matter
is the
what.
best one that's ever been made. So even if you're watching others that are good, you're like, okay, well, but where's Billy Crystal?
You can't it's so hard to have because I think the movie that comes to mind when comparing this one is like Pride and Prejudice, because the quality is just so good. But it's not a funny
Mm.
movie. It's not a rom-com. It's just
Yeah,
a romantic
it's
movie.
just a romance.
So
Yeah.
the fact that it is so good and can still be classified as a rom-com because it's a good movie,
It
it
is
is romantic,
actually
and it
funny.
is funny.
Yeah.
That's, it literally is the top of the peak before you just get into like romance movies.
Uh-huh.
It's right at the threshold. And so
Yeah.
everything else can be funny and it can be romantic too, but it's never gonna be both
It's never
to
gonna be
this
both.
extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, it'll just be a romantic movie or just a comedy.
That
They
sometimes
have
has people kissing,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's,
so funny. I mean,
whatever.
it's mostly like these like really witty lines and back and forths that are just like very funny. But there also are some like physical bits, like when they're getting the Christmas tree and she's just falling over herself the whole time. He just keeps walking.
Yeah.
Just losing her mind. Like just these little moments that like again, it just feels so real.
Yeah.
She's being ridiculous. And that's that.
Yeah. Or when he's singing, he's got the karaoke machine in his apartment and he's singing so stiltedly, but like
Yeah.
he's
Replacing
going
some
crazy for
words to be funny and yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
good.
a
And even
yeah.
when they first discover the singing machine, and that's the first and only time that we ever see Helen, it's like
Yeah.
funny and also tragic. And it's hard to get that combination of things so well. But they did it.
Yeah. They did, because she's still singing. Sally's still
Yeah.
singing. Sorry, with a friend on top, and he's like but she's like, "Did you always are your friend, shut up?" And she's like, "Girl, look around you." And then
Yeah.
she says Helen's name into the microphone. "Helen?"
Yeah, Helen.
She's walking to her,
He's like
and it's like, yeah,
so good.
it is exactly as devastating as like, how awkward it is running into this person in public. And
Yeah.
also they did
And
make it
Ira.
comical.
And
And
not only do you have to meet Ira, but Oklahoma is still playing.
while they're shopping for a present for their friends moving in together. Just to add insult to injury.
It's a perfect movie.
It's a perfect movie.
Mhm.
And we don't say that very often. But,
No,
I'm
because we
gonna give
don't
it the
like to
official stamp.
exaggerate.
No. Listen, I'll say this now. I've never once exaggerated in my life. Okay?
And we're not about to start today, so
No.
yeah.
Everything I say is the exact truth. Always.
Uh-huh. It's because she's gonna be a lawyer.
And I'll be the best damn lawyer this side of the Mississippi.
Oh, it's such a good phrase, this side of the Mississippi. I feel like people
Yeah.
don't say it as much as they used to. It's kind of a shame.
No, you know what? We'll bring it back. I'll start
Okay.
sprinkling it into my normal conversations.
Okay, good plan.
Well, thank you all for listening. Click that like button, drop a comment.
Mm-hmm. Tell us your favorite and least favorite rom-com. That could be
Yes. Yeah.
no one will do that. When I look through like
Maybe
a
I'll do it. I'll log into my personal account.
yeah, please do. We can have it start a conversation in the comments, but it's just me and you on our personal accounts.
Yes.
That'd be really good.
Yeah. That's
Because
funny.
nobody else is gonna do it. We have a 100% like to dislike ratio. Because occasionally we get one like on a video.
It's me.
That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all, I think.
I think so.
Bye.
Bye.